Hi, I'm Lindsay Bennett with PA Football News, and I'm going to do a 5 or 6 part series with referees. And today we got Rich Macik here. He's an NTL ref, and we're going to ask him some questions and see what the life of being a referee is all about. Hi, Rich. How are you?
Awesome.
How did you get into refereeing to begin with?
I've always loved sports of every sort, and I was at a few games, and some refs I knew said, "Hey, come on, you got to do this. This is fun. It's a blast." Guys I coached with, they're like, "You got to do this. You got to do this." So for a couple of years, they just said, "Hey, man, you got to do this," and I was like, "All right, I'm giving it a shot finally." So it was cool.
So how many years have you been doing it up to this year?
I think 5 or 6 years.
That long already, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's gone by fast. It's fun.
Gone by?
Yeah. That's my Scranton area. Yeah.
Of the 5 or 6 years you've been reffing, what's some of the calls that stand out in your mind that you'll never forget?
I had an inadvertent whistle. That's one thing I'll never forget. Oh man. That was at Towanda. Interception. I'm watching my guy cross the field, and ball disappears, and it looks like it hits turf, and I don't see anybody with the ball, and I'm like, done, and I'm like, oh man, that kid's returning it. Good thing is he only went 4 yards and fell down, but it was like, all right, and there was like probably one person in that stadium that probably heard that, and I was like, oh, I know I'm the other one. So I blew it then, and I said, this is what happened, and we just took it back, and the coaches were good about it. So that's one, yeah. Definitely one.
What are some of the pros of being a referee? Like when you show up on a Friday night, you go, I can't wait for this to happen.
Oh, all day Friday, that's what I'm looking for. I'm seriously like, all right, I can't wait for this. This is gonna be great. It's like the closest thing I can get ever to playing again. Like I'm back on the field.
Like
I'll
you're
never get
literally back on the
I'm
field.
on the field.
Yeah.
I'm closer than the coaches actually. I'm right there with the players a lot of times. I get to see and hear things that no one else does.
Yep.
Like not even the coaches get to hear a lot of stuff that I hear.
Like you grew up in the same generation that I grew up. So today's kids, what are they saying out there that the people in the stands can't hear compared to like what we were saying when we were playing? Is it pretty much the same thing, or is it like?
Well, you got your language as usual, where it's like, hey, calm it down, slow it down. I like to give kids warnings about trash talking. I see more trash talking than what I grew up with. I think in our generation, there would be someone would say something, like if you got hit hard, and they floored you, and you got like snot bubbles coming out, you might be like, yeah, this is a game. Don't get back up or something like that. But now it's like, I've seen where kids are literally getting their butts kicked all over the field, and they're running their mouth at the other team, and I'm like, I don't think you're doing this the right way.
It's 40-0. What score does it have to be for you to keep your trap shut?
We're like, guys, you're getting your butts kicked. It's shut your mouth and go back to your huddle.
Yeah, and let's just get this game over with because it's not getting any prettier.
Yeah, that's probably one of the common things I say out there is like, all right, go back to your huddle. Just keep your mouth closed. If you want to finish the game, that's my biggest thing right there. No doubt. You want to finish this game, shut your mouth and go to your huddle. They're usually pretty decent.
Now, how do you, like being in the NTL, we don't get a lot of props up here. So like when playoffs roll around, how does the criteria go to get a playoff game?
So pretty much every week we have our meetings and we'll evaluate each other if there's plays that come up from our interpreter or from one of the state interpreters. And sometimes it's really great and sometimes it's like, uh-oh, like that's something that we've got to be really aware of. You got to be wise about making sure your eyes are in the right spot all the time, making sure those safety calls are made. That's a huge thing I know is the safety. And you're getting evaluated on how much are you hustling, how much are you moving in on plays. Is there situations that could get bad on either side with players, like messing around, taking it too far after the whistle, bench areas, things like that. So are you busting in on plays? Are your mechanics correct? Are you in the right position? All those things we get evaluated on regularly. And I think that's important because I want to be critiqued so that I know what I need to work on all the time, and I'm going to improve on that.
So for the fans watching this that don't really know anything other than you're a striped guy with either a black or white hat, who evaluates you? Like,
So-
who are they?
So we have our own guys within our chapter, but then we have the state interpreters. So you got guys right at the state level that are looking right at some of our stuff. And then they'll send to our chapter and say, hey, show this video, or we recommend you discussing this video. This is a really good job, good mechanics, and this is something that you need to work on.
Now, how does the state interpreter like pick games to watch to judge and grade you guys?
So I know some video gets sent in by teams. They'll say, hey, watch this video.
This guy blew this call.
Yeah.
Check this out. That's probably
Yep.
how 90% of the videos get analyzed, right?
Yeah. Like we'll have coaches that are like, hey, you called us for a late hit here. But in this other game, we saw the video for, it looks like the same play. And then it is one of those discussions that we have with the coaches of, in real time, this is what we saw, this is what our players, because we don't have instant replay.
No.
So
So the last thing you see, that's what you're judging off.
Yeah,
and
you
and
have
the fans at home have to understand that unless you actually refereed, things are happening at a million miles an hour, and you have to make a judgment, right or wrong. The game's not going to stop and say, "Hold on, let's think about it for a few minutes." Normally, sometimes it does.
we do that, yeah.
But like normally, it has to be like, "Here's what I seen, and we're going with this."
Yes.
Period. End of story. The ref or the coach can argue all they want, but this is what I seen, and we're moving on.
Yes. Yep. You want to keep the flow of the game, but you also want to keep the integrity of the game. That's very important. So if it means that, okay, we've got to stop the game and we've got to have this discussion, we're going to do that because at the end of the day, we don't want to short any of the players, coaches, fans, the schools of what's due deserve to them. It's let's get it right at the end of the day. And truly, everybody's trying to do that. There's blown calls, there is. But everybody is truly trying to do their best.
Like I was reading an article. This question's about compensation for referees. I was reading an article where downstate in Pennsylvania, they make more money to do like midget football games than they do high school games. Like how does that, like I'm not asking you what you make, but how does that compare to like up here? Like if you do midget games compared to a varsity game versus JV or junior high, like you don't have to give me a monetary value, but say, just grade it like 3, 4, 5.
So varsity is your highest paid, then it's JV, then junior high. And Pee Wee, it depends on the flow of the game, like how you get paid per game, but some of these games can take really long. They're exhausting. They really are. You do a lot of running. So, your different tiers for your different levels that's expected. The speed of the game really determines, I think, the complexity of the game, what's at stake, is how the pay scale. I don't know exactly how they say it, but I would say, you got a varsity game. This is going for a state title. JV's your development. Junior high is your next step up, or as you go through the process.
Absolutely.
So the pay is different because of the expectations, and then the amount of time you're on the field too.
Yeah.
So that your games are shorter as you go down. But like those Pee Wee games, man, they can last a long time. It's nothing to be there, 5-6 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Game after game after game. Yeah.
Like when you're doing, say you're doing a Pee Wee game, like you could literally call a penalty every single play.
Exactly.
So the criteria changes from like being a varsity referee, the bar's set at a certain level, and as you go down through, like you said, JV, junior high, peewee, midget, like the bar keeps getting lower and lower and lower. So when you get on say you're at a midget game and you could literally call holding on several players on every play, what is the bar that it says, here's the criteria that I throw the flag and here's the criteria I don't?
All right, so with the peewee, going all the way down to that, how does it impact the play? If you are the wide receiver on the far left and the play is a toss to the right, it's not going to
keep it in your pocket.
Keep it in your pocket, yeah. It's not impacting the play enough. You'll talk to the coaches, especially at the peewee level. We talk to them a lot and say, hey, that kid's holding over there, just so you know. So you might want to talk to them. And we offer advice like, hey, don't put your hands around. Try and keep them inside. Things like that. Yeah, so it's how it affects the play.
I got it.
Yeah, and it's also like, what time is it in the game? Is it a complete blowout? And is there 3 seconds left on the clock? And the play is going to be made, even though you have holding right here, and the play is going to be made. Is it imminent that it's going to change the impact? You know, game's about to end. Are we going to run another play, risk an injury or something like that? That's some of the criteria.
Like I did the Athens at Canton game this past weekend, and man, that was a track meet. Like I couldn't even keep up going up and down filming the game. So to be a referee out there, that has to be even more hectic because you got to be running around. You got a lot of responsibility to keep the kids safe, call the right calls. You have a lot more responsibility than like somebody in the stands would ever guess. And there's how many of you out there? 6?
Up here, we're fortunate to have 6. Yes, but the districts are willing to pay for 6. Down south of us, a lot is 5-man crews, which is even tougher.
Oh yeah.
Your responsibilities, you get more added.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a track meet some nights. I often come home quite exhausted, being a deep wing and running. These high school kids are starting to get faster.
Oh yeah.
And I'm getting older. So
now, when I go to the state championship games every year, the PIAA has a tent set up, always looking for people to sign up to be referees. And there's a shortage of referees up in all of Pennsylvania, not just in the NTL. But if anybody that sits in the stands wants to do it, I think, I'm not sure, we can ask Rich, do you just go online and take a test? Or do you have to show up someplace and take a test to be a referee?
you can go on the PIAA site for officials and you can get all the materials and pay to go online. I would say get a hold of a ref. Talk to an AD, your local AD, whoever that is for whatever district, and see if they can help get you in contact with one of the local chapters for reffing, whatever sport it may be. Yeah, we're short. Like we're doing games next week. I got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday varsity back to back to back.
Wow.
And I'm going to be running and running and running.
Yep.
So that gets that fatigue starts to wear in.
Yeah. And anybody out there wants to be a ref, please go to the PIAA website, sign up. And even if you don't know that much about the rules, sign up, they will teach you. That's what these people do. They teach you the rules, and before you know it, you'll be out there throwing flags and having zebra stripes on and red, black and white hats, you know. But yeah. I just want to, from PA Football News, I want to thank you, Rich, for your time to sit with us.
Yep.
And it's been an honor and a privilege to sit here and hear some of your stories and learn the ins and outs of refereeing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you, PA Football News and Lindsey Bennett.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you on the sidelines.
Thank you. Same here.
All right.